Hey, what's up guys, Brandasauresrex here, coming at you with another figure review. So today we're going to be reviewing the S.H MonsterArts Godzilla 1954 figure. So before we take a look at Godzilla himself, because he comes with no accessories, let's take a look at his box. So getting the box out of the way, let's talk about detailing on Godzilla, because I think that this figure has a lot of cool details that I want to point out to you guys. So starting at the head, you can see that this is a pretty iconic looking head sculpt for Godzilla. You know, one that, you know, you've seen in posters, in the movie. I think this really looks a lot like the Godzilla from the movie. And I do have to note that this one looks more like the suit than the puppet. So yeah, so he does have his signature eyes that are looking down. They're really large for this figure. I don't know if that's how the eyes were in the movie, but the pupils are really large. I thought they were a little bit smaller and a little bit more lower down. But looking at this figure straight on, I think the eyes look a little weird. And I think that's why they never filmed it from straight on. They only did it from side to side mostly. Now moving down to the chest of Godzilla, I think this is sculpted amazingly. It looks exactly like the suit itself from, you know, what you can see in the movie. I think it just looks amazing, absolutely fantastic. The sculptor, you know, I'll put his name here again, just did an amazing job on this figure. I just think it just looks like the texturing on this thing is fantastic. Moving down slightly to the legs of Godzilla and his midsection, everything just looks fantastic here, but I do have to note that my right leg is rather loose. I might try Diego Doom's technique and, his technique for tightening joints. And if you haven't seen that video, I'll link it down below. I think it's a very important detail for a lot of people to see. But for me, my leg is very, very loose, and it came that way straight out of packaging. So now turning the figure around, we're looking at the back and his dorsal plates, and these dorsal plates are really awesome. I love how they look. There's something about it that just screams like my childhood. I don't know exactly what that means to me. I know you guys won't understand what that means, but for me, I watched a lot of Godzilla movies with my brother as a kid, and I didn't really see the 54 movie until I was an adult. But looking at these dorsal plates, it just screams everything that encompasses my childhood, which is just Godzilla and Marvel movies. And let's move down to Godzilla's tail. A lot of detailing going on here, but something I have to mention, another ballpark home run for the tails. This is another strong articulated tail that we got going on here, and it's absolutely amazing. I love that you can get it in pretty much any pose that you could possibly think of, and it's not overly long and unnecessarily long like the 2000s or the 2014 where that tail just looked like it was never going to end. This tail is straight to the point with all the strong joints that you need to get this thing in any kind of pose that you want. So now here's the big thing that everybody wants to know. What is the size of this figure, and how does it scale up with the other S.H MonsterArts figures? A lot of people think that Tamashii Nations is actually moving the S.H MonsterArts into a larger scale, and I'm not particularly too sure about that. This figure is not that tall, so let's move into some size comparisons so you guys can see exactly how tall this guy is compared to your other S.H MonsterArts figures. Okay, so getting the size comparisons out of the way, you can see exactly how tall this figure is. So now let's go into articulation on this figure, because I think that there's some new things going on here that I just want to talk about. So starting at the head and neck are on a lot of different ball joints here. You can get this thing to look straight up, which I think is amazing. I love the fact that you can get this Godzilla to look straight up. There's a lot of Godzillas that can't look straight up. The jaw is also articulated, which is awesome. Nothing new there. But something to note, the tongue is not articulated. Not a minor gripe of mine. I do like it when the tongues are articulated because I like to move it around in photography just to make it look a little bit more alive and lifelike. But if it's not, it's not. Moving down to the arms of Godzilla, he has one joint at the shoulder that allows him to rotate and in and out and all that good stuff, and he can move it up and down and all that good stuff. No bicep swivel, shockingly, on this figure. I thought he actually had a bicep swivel. There's no bicep swivel. Very weird. Then moving down to the elbows, he has a double jointed elbow, articulates perfectly. You can get it. He can't bend all the way out. And moving down to the wrist, he has one wrist peg going on here. It feels really loose for me. I don't know exactly what that is, but the hand has not popped out. Moving down to his midsection, Godzilla has two joints at the abdomen, which I think is pretty cool, which you can get to him to crunch just a little bit, not too much. Now moving down to the legs can go up and down, in and out, bend at the knee, and he has a small shin joint that also is the ankle, which I think is another bit of a setback. I like it when the shin and the ankle are, two different joints, so you can get a little bit more of that articulation that you want to bend the legs as far as you want to get them in those wide stances. And I think that that's just lacking in this. You can't get them in those really good wide stances. And turning this figure around, he has a very segmented tail, very strong, and we already know how this goes. You can move it around in any kind of position you want to get those great poses that you want for Godzilla's tail. So wrapping up my thoughts on the S.H MonsterArts Godzilla 1954 figure, I have to say I absolutely love this figure. Having the original OG Godzilla in my collection is something I always wanted from MonsterArts. I've been begging and pleading for this figure to come out. I've been waiting so long for this figure to come out. This is one of the prized possessions in my collection now. Hopefully we'll get more Showa era Godzillas for the guys who are older and really appreciate those Showa era movies. And I think that if this figure does well, I think maybe we can see some Showa era figures come. But for right now, we should appreciate the ones that we have for right now. So on a scale of 1 to 10, how would I rate this figure? I would rate this figure in 8.5. Like I said before, there are some things in the articulation point that bring it down just 2 notches for me. I wish that there was just some things that were just done a little bit better, especially with the legs and the ab joint. But besides that, this figure is a ballpark. The tail is fantastic. The head joints are amazing. The only thing that does bring me down just a little bit are those loose joints and those points of articulation that are slightly missing. So that's going to wrap it up for this review. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, make sure to leave a like on this video and let me know what you guys think of this figure. And if you guys really need to know how I got this figure, you can check out my unboxing video that will be listed in the description down below, where I will explain how I got this figure so early compared to some other people. So I'll catch you guys later with another unboxing and review. So I'll see you guys there. Peace.
That's crispy.